Coming up today on That LTD Life, I'm checking out a client portal called SuperOkay. This is a previous AppSumo deal. It's back again for a short period of time, just 14 days as of the recording of this video. So let's go ahead and not beat around the bush, get right into this. Actually, I gotta beat around the bush. Guess what? AppSumo dropped a last call on us just earlier this morning. They don't let me know any of this stuff, by the way. I'd love to have been prepared and maybe had a video ready for you, but last call is available right now. There are 10 deals that are back for 96 hours only. Some of them I've reviewed fairly recently. My signature URL monitor, I have used HostX in the past as well. Some good ones out there, so definitely check this out. I'll have a link in the description if you want to go check out last call. The only caveat is you do need to be an AppSumo Plus member in order to partake, although I recommend Plus anyways. It extends your buyer protection policy with AppSumo, gives you 10% off of everything you buy, a bunch of other goodies. So definitely check out AppSumo Plus and last call. All right, onwards to SuperOkay. SuperOkay starts off at just $69. There are 4 tiers available. Let's go ahead and check out what is going to be included in them. With tier 1, you get unlimited projects, unlimited task management, and then 1 team member. What does that mean? A team member is someone who can design the portal, essentially. So your clients don't count here. It's going to just be, how many people are on your team that actually need to access the client portal. Then we get 5 pages. Those are exactly what they sound like. And they're live pages, like kind of like a website. And you get 10 gigabytes of storage. That's important because not only you, but your clients can upload files to this platform. So kind of a cool idea. Tier 1 is probably not where I'd recommend most people buy. Tier 2 and above is kind of going to be the sweet spot for me because we just get so many more resources. We get more than double everything. So we go from 1 team member up to 3 team members. We go from 5 pages to 10 pages. Okay, I guess that's just double. We also get 10x the storage, 10 gigs all the way up to 100, team member roles, custom project permissions. So both of these things are good if you need to, very selectively choose who can see and do what inside of a project. And then we also get the white labeling custom domain combination where you can remove all SuperOkay branding, add your own URL. So it can be yourbrandname.com or your projects.yourbrandname.com and really make it feel like a nice professional experience for your clients. Once we get past tier 3, no new features are added. The only thing that's going to change is we get unlimited pages, we get unlimited team members, we get a lot more storage. And then if you go up to tier 4, the storage explodes up to 1 terabyte. If you saw before on tier 3, it was 250 gigs. So here is SuperOkay. I'm going to give you a broad overview of how everything works, and then we'll get more granular into each dedicated item. So you've got projects here. You'll create a new project every time you have a new project. You get a new web design task, get a new video production task. You'll create a new project for each one of those. Those projects will be assigned to clients. So you'll add your clients in here, create the project, and assign it to them. That will restrict the project to that client and give the client access to the project. Inside of projects, you can have tasks. Tasks are going to show up in this main overview, but they're going to be sorted basically by projects right over here. So this is more of just an overview screen for the tasks that are currently available, what client they're assigned to, and who is responsible for them. Basically, this page is more of a dashboard, whereas the other 2 pages, the projects and clients, you're actually doing real work inside of those. The next item down is templates, and these are all of the starting points that you can use to create a project. In fact, when you choose new project, you have the option to choose one of these templates. They're pretty good, I will say. They look overall fairly nice. They all have a similar aesthetic, but the items inside of it will be tailored to the type of project that they've designed for. So I try to kind of scroll through here and you can see what types of projects are available. We've got branding, websites, mobile apps, graphic design, SEO, digital marketing, video production, quite a few different options available. I'll click into one of them here. How about a website design project? We can see a nice little preview. Basically, we're going to get these little bento boxes with different links and different action items to just kind of put everything in a nice place for your clients. Below templates is your library, and this is where you can build out pages for your website. You can have reusable blocks, so if you mention things frequently, you can set up basically a little template, a little chunk of text that you can reuse or design that you can reuse throughout the site. You can have your team bios here. We'll get into more detail of this later on. We can add our products and services, billable services as well. So overall, the library section is very important, and I recommend spending quite a bit of time going through and getting that set up as you need. But where we're going to dig in first is the settings. This is something that will be covered partially through the onboarding process. When you get your AppSumo code, you go through this, you'll enter things in like your organization name. But let's go ahead and just blast through all of these details together. You can see how things start to take shape. So the first thing I'm going to enter in here is my logo. I can upload both a primary logo and a reverse logo. So basically, this is going to be for light mode and this is going to be for dark mode. All right, so I've just added our logos for light and dark mode. Then down below, we have a color palette, and it says this color palette will be available in your documents and projects. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up. Here's the color picker. Notice there's a hex code. We can just paste right into that area. I'm gonna update this with all of our colors here. All right, there we go. This is the color palette off of our website. We can also change our font here. It's gonna basically allow us to choose from any of the Google fonts that are available. So if you have a custom font, you're a little bit out of luck here. We can't upload our own fonts, but there are still quite a few available. You can see 1722, so quite a few to choose from. All right, I'm gonna choose Manrope here. I chose it for headings and paragraphs. We actually have a different font we like to use for our headings, but it is a custom font. So I'll just go with Manrope for both here, and I'll save the changes. Now you can see my logo is in the upper left-hand corner. Nothing else really jumps out at me as changing right away. So the back end is still kind of set in the standard SuperOkay design, which is super okay. I'm really proud that I made it like, I don't know, however many minutes into this video, and I haven't made that joke yet. Under team members is where we can grant access to other team members. I just bought tier 1 to find out if I like this tool. I actually am liking it and could consider myself using it. Just a little teaser for the final score there. But if we want to add a new team member, you click up here, add their first and last name, and then choose a role for them. We've got members, project managers, and admins. This is different than clients. You'll invite your clients later on in a different screen. Under client portal, we can set the client portal to be in any of these available languages. I'm going to stick with English for now. And then we can set up our login options, whether you want to use magic links or magic links that don't expire. I am personally not a huge fan of magic links, so I would like to just turn them off, and I can. That's great. Magic links, by the way, if you don't know, that's when you log in with your email and then they send you an email with a code that you then have to copy and paste into the browser. I've got a password manager. This is just extra steps for me. I don't like magic links. I think it's better for SaaS companies than it actually is for users. So I get that they're trying to, teach people to not have insecure passwords, but I feel like that's the lazy way around it. That's for another time. Let's move on. We've got a login theme over here. We can see what our login page will look like. Fairly comprehensive editing options. It's not going to be like a full page builder here, but we can choose any of these available themes. So basically, whether or not it's going to be centered in the middle, whether it's on the right, whether it's on the left. We've got a few different designs here. You can change that background image, by the way. So we just go over to Unsplash here or upload our own. Light and dark mode are available. That will affect the text. So make sure you choose a corresponding background image that makes sense. Now, one thing that I guess is a little bit of a bummer to me is that all of these colors that I added as my palette, those do not automatically update. These are still kind of standard colors. I need to go through and add them in, and I can't even see the palette here. That'd be really great if they made that available. I can change all of the messages here. So I can do things like, log in instead of sign in if I wanted to. Or right here, it says, we'll email you a magic link for password-free sign in. I can get rid of that if I wanted to. There's this option right here, show form background. That just puts a nice little background around the form. I think that looks a lot better personally. Even if I went for a more contrasty background, I would probably still leave that form background on. I think it makes it a lot easier to read. All right, so those are the login theme options. There is an option over here to open the client portal login page. I'm gonna click over here and you can see what that looks like. Looks pretty good in my opinion. I have no qualms about it. Maybe just a little bit odd in the spacing here, but otherwise it looks fairly nice. The last thing in our client portal settings is the SEO optimization. This is where you can set your favicon. So that'll be the icon that shows up in a new tab, or if someone saves your website as an app or as a desktop icon on their phone. Pretty important because a client might be likely to do that if they are accessing your client portal frequently. Then we also have metadata. This will be for Google search results. Your title and description that will show up on the Google search results will be over here. And then you can add a cover image. This is going to be the social sharing image, also known as the OG image for Open Graph. It'll show up on sites like Twitter and Facebook. So also very important to update this. The next two settings, custom domain as well as email white labeling, are where you're going to configure your DNS settings so that you can have a nice branded experience for your clients. Under custom domain, you'll add your custom domain in right here. You'll get some DNS records and then you'll validate them, and then everything will work through that domain. Under email white label, you will do something very similar where you basically authenticate that you own that domain. You'll add a text record to set up DKIM authentication, and then you'll be able to send emails from SuperOkay and have it go through with your own branding so it doesn't hit the spam box. The email white labeling is very important. Do not skip this step. Go through and set it up. It's going to only take a few minutes, especially if you already know how to update your DNS records. If you have questions about that, hit me up in the comments. All right, so that's everything in the settings. Let's go ahead and get started with actually using this thing. I'm going to go over to clients to get started. You can see I added in my, small time client here, Elon Musk. Let's add in a new one. Let's call them Apple Inc. And we'll add a brand color. I'll upload their logo and let's create this client. Now, after a client is created, you'll need to add contacts within that client. Let's go ahead and add our first contact here. And then the client's role is always going to be set to client. There's no options to change that. I'm going to add the contact. And here we go. I've got Tim Apple, my client from Apple Inc. Now, once you've added your clients, you're going to want to notify them. And that's pretty easy to do. We've got an email link over here, or you can just copy the link and send it to them however you like. If you need to edit the client later on, just hit that edit button. You can get back in there. And there's also a trash can to get rid of that contact. Want to delete the whole client altogether? You can do that up here. And you can edit the original client, like their branding, their logo, by hitting that edit client button. That's back right here. All right, so now you've got your client added in and you need to do some work for them. So we're gonna set up a project. So I'll go right over here to project and I'll create a new project. And I see the template picker. Remember, that's the same thing we saw earlier. I don't really know why it's in the left-hand sidebar. I think it's fine to just leave it right here. I can go ahead and choose one of these templates. How about, well, I'm gonna do maybe some video production for Apple. It seems like they're kind of lacking on that lately. I'll choose preview template to make sure it's the one I want, and then use this template. It's going to import everything I just saw. So I've got a bunch of sections here, docs and files. I can click over here to view them all. And this is where I can actually edit them, right? So maybe I want to add a new section. We've got a video production proposal, a brief, some pin documents. I can create a new one up here by adding a new document, uploading a file, linking to a file, or I can make a folder and put things inside of that folder. So if you have important documents, deliverables, things you want to share with clients, you can put it in the docs and files section. They'll always know to log into their client portal and how to find everything. You'll notice down here, we've also got some embedded apps. So if you're using other tools, like the examples they give in this template are Trello and YouTube, you can add those embedded app links right here. We can manage them on the, remember, we're on the back end. We're editing right now. This is not the client view. So we can click right here and that just takes us to where the embeddable apps are. See, they have access for Miro, for whiteboards, Airtable for doing databases, Figma, Canva, YouTube, Data Studio, Loom, Trello, and ClickUp. So a pretty wide range of tools here that you can embed. Now, you're not limited to these tools. If you have another tool that's embeddable, just click Embed App up here and then paste in the embed code and you'll be good to go. Now, if you're wondering what it looks like to actually embed an app, I'll just open up this YouTube link right here and you can see it's just a link to a specific video, and then you can give it a description. So if you've got some onboarding videos you want to share with your clients, it'd be very easy to do so. All right, so we've covered most of the templates so far. There are these quick links at the top I haven't mentioned. If you want to have nice little icons for people to jump to things quickly, you could do so. I'm not a big fan of the look of this template, to be honest. I don't find that there's the right contrast between the background image and this blue. It's just, I think it would give a lot of people some trouble. But that said, we can customize just about everything you see here. To do so, as well as to set up access for our client, which we haven't done yet, by the way, we'll click over here on this gear icon. Once we've clicked the gear icon, we've got some options here. We can go to the settings. This is where I want to end up right now, but I can also preview the portal as a client. That's important. I can duplicate the entire project. I can archive it or delete it. Very important. There's no way to create your own template. I'd love that to be a reality. As it is right now, we're stuck with their templates, which are pretty good, but are going to require you to consistently modify them to suit your needs. So let's go under settings here. The first thing I'm going to do is manage the access to this. I want to make sure that Tim Apple has access to his client portal for his video production project. So under manage access, I can choose who on the team can view this board. I can also view which clients have access to it. So I'll just choose between Tesla and Apple here, and then I'll go ahead and manage client access, turning it on for Tim. It's going to email Tim to let him know. I'll hit done. And now Tim has access to the client board. I can also see the docs and files permission. So whether or not the client can create, upload, remove, or move the files that have been uploaded. These are important settings. You probably will want to turn off some of these things, just judging by my client interactions. People make mistakes. We don't want to have them removing files that are necessary. All right, so now that our client has access to this board, the next thing we want to do is set up the right content. So what we were looking at before is modules. That is the essence of what the client portal is built on. We've got our docs and files, we've got tasks, we've got timelines, package services, pin folders, pages, quick links, embeddable apps. So all of the integrations. This is where we set up what the client can actually see on their dashboard after they log in. The overall look of the client portal is set up inside of branding. Here I can set up the background. Right now they have got this background with a kind of bright red tint. Maybe I want to make this more of a darker color. I'll do that. I could also upload a brand new image right here, but for now I'm going to stick with what they've given me. I'm just going to increase the opacity of that background until I think I have the right amount of contrast between my darker links. Okay, so you can customize this as you see fit. There's light mode, there is dark mode. There is also the ability to change the fonts here. So it's all of the same things we saw inside of our company branding, but now it's going to apply to your clients. It would be nice if those just defaulted over to be yours, and then you had to change them if you wanted to reflect the client. But as it is right now, they don't seem to have stuck at all. I hope I saved mine. Yes, here's my color palette. Here's my fonts. They're saved. They're just not carrying over to new projects. All right, so that is the branding section. Let's go ahead and check out the content settings down here. So we've got our pin folders. These are folders that are going to be front and center. They've got the most important information inside of them. So it says you can pin any folder from your shared folder to the client portal dashboard on the sidebar navigation. For that to make sense, let's take a look at what the portal looks like when we're logged in as a client. So remember, I can click on the gear icon up here and preview the portal. Quick note here, you do need to assign access to a client in order to preview it. I don't know why that's the case. I'd love to be able to preview it before I actually give the client access. I think that makes a lot more sense, but maybe you want to go ahead and create a dummy setup for clients to test things out and then give your real clients access. All right, let's open this up as a client, and then it says the preview link has been generated. I can click to open it automatically. I do need to create a password. I'll do that right now. And here I am. I'm now logged in as client. You can see it says client amp plus Apple. I didn't upload a transparent background, but I recommend doing that. And I can see all of the projects that I have access to. Now, what's weird here is that I actually see access to all of the projects, even ones that are not assigned to Apple. So perhaps that's because I'm signed in as Dave and not Tim Apple, but let's go with it. So I'm going to open up the Apple Inc. video production project. You can see I haven't changed the name of this yet, but I could do so. As I hover over it, the text turns white, very hard to read. So definitely something I'd want to change there, but I can click in and now I've got my sidebar here where I can see all of the navigation links like the integrated apps, my pinned documents. So that's what we're going to see over on that sidebar. Remember in the settings we were looking at. And then it's exactly what we were looking at before in terms of docs and files, pinned documents, my external links, and then basically I haven't done anything else with the timeline here, but I could add in tasks. I could add, all of the other features we've been talking about. So I think this looks great. I'm happy with this. My concerns were, I guess, on that previous screen. This, however, does not look so good. I'll need to figure out how to get that hover color to be more consistent. There is a different view here. You can have list view as well as grid view that we're on, and we can sort them by date modified as well as by name. So if you've got a client where you're doing lots of projects for them, they'd have maybe their website design here, their Facebook ads, their SEO plan, everything could be listed out or have a different card for each one of them. And that could be a really great system for your clients to be able to quickly see the status of your multiple projects. Okay, so those were your pin folders. You can add a new one right up here. Just click on the folder that you want to share, and then you can do that. We've got quick links. Those are going to be those links that we saw at the top of the screen. We can add a new one up here. Just add in your link, choose an icon. They have a ton of different icons to go with. These are app icons, there's material icons, and basic icons. We already looked at embeddable apps, but there's also integrations with several chat platforms right here. You can see like Intercom, there is My Alice, 13 Chats, Chativ. So lots of different options for chat application integrations. They'll just basically be embedded right inside of that client portal. And that way people can chat with you in real time as they look at their projects. Next up, we've got our packaged services. Now, we need to set these up inside of our library before they're available to put into a project. So maybe we'll go through that in just a moment here. We've also got our pages. That's going to be the exact same process as the packaged services. We set them up inside of the library, and then we can add them to a project through this settings screen. All right, so let's head over to the library. I'm going to show you packaged services and pages here. So in the library, we've got all of these different reusable items. Showed you this in the overview. Let's start with packaged services. I've got one here I've already created. Let's make a brand new one. There are some templates for us to choose from. So these are the templates. They include SEO, branding, graphic mastery, design package, next-gen app user interface. So I can preview these. Basically, it's just going to be like an itemized list of what you're going to do for someone, and then someone can buy that service. So it's a good way to sell your productized services, makes it very easy to do so. If I want to use this, I'll just click Use Template. And now that I'm using it, we can go ahead and customize it. This is our first look inside of their document editor, so to speak. We've got, it's kind of like a page builder, to be honest with you. We've got these different sections here. I can move the sections around by dragging them. It works very well. It's not as full featured as like a full-on website page builder, but it gives you everything you kind of want. So I want to add some text. Maybe I'll add in a new block here. Like I want to add a button. I can do that. So you get a little page builder here where you can have a productized service. You can think of this like a product inside of an e-commerce store where we can design a nice product page, and then we can include that over in the client portal. Now we will come back to this editor in a little bit, but let's go ahead and connect the dots up because we've just added a package service, and now I want to make it available in the project I was offering over to Tim Apple. So I'm going to go up to my clients, and now I'll be able to find Apple, and I can see all of the projects they're included in. Now I could have done this another way, by the way. I could have gone to projects and found their project right here, but they both take you to the same place. Now, once I'm inside of the settings for, let's go ahead and rename this, by the way. Let's go up to details and we'll call this the Apple Video Production Project. All right, now that that's done, let's go to under settings where we currently are, package services. And now here I can add a package service from my library. And you can see the one that we just added, which was the graphic mastery design package template. I will choose that one and hit save. Obviously, you'd want to update the title of that before you made it available to a client. But here it is. This is what's going to be available to our clients to make a purchase. Okay, now that we have the package service added to our client, the next thing to do is turn on that module. So I'll go over to modules right here, and I'm going to turn it on for the team as well as the client and hit save. Now, if I preview this as the client one more time, I'll preview the portal, go ahead and open the link and scroll down here. I can see package services. I can click on that, and I could even go ahead and make a purchase. It'll just take me over to Stripe where I can create a payment link here and do the billing. So that's how payments are done if you're wondering, just through Stripe payment links, and then you'll get the money right into your bank account. Okay, so with that aside, let's go back into our project and let's take a look at pages, which functions very similarly. And now we can dig a little bit deeper into the actual editor itself. So back into the kind of design mode, admin mode, I'm gonna go over to my library and I'm gonna add a page. To add a new page, I'll just go over here where it says new page, and then I can choose from a blank page or use one of their templates. Now I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the overall design aesthetic. I think the app itself looks good, but anytime there's been something client facing, unfortunately, I feel like it's been a lower standard than the actual admin experience, which if you're a WordPress user, it's polar opposite, right? So yeah, it's kind of, they're not the greatest looking pages. I'll just say that. We can preview. Here's an FAQ page. I mean, it looks fine, but I don't know. It's not great. This probably is one of the nicer looking ones. Let's look at a different one here. I'll go back to the templates, like maybe the about page. Where is that? Right here. Let's preview this. As you scroll through, it kind of doesn't look very modern and nice looking. But let's see what we can do. If we were to start from this, I'll go ahead and use this template. And now we're inside of this page builder view. Remember, wherever you see a plus button, you can add more content in. So if I wanted to add a different row or column here, I can just hit plus, and then I can choose the different ways to group content together. So they do have this group or columns. I can add in multiple columns here. You can do 50-50, 30-70. So yeah, it really is kind of like a page builder that's got all of the CSS kind of removed from it. We can, I mean, I guess it's not all of it. We can play with the padding and the margin. So it's fairly customizable, but you're not going to be injecting custom code or anything on this. Well, I mean, just as I say that, there is embeddable code, like you can embed like a YouTube video or something like that, but it's not going to be like full styling, you know, CSS grid and stuff like that. I mean, there is some alignment, like if I wanted to center align this text, I could just select it and then center align it right here, but I have to do it kind of on a, you know, 1-by-1 basis. And there's no way to center align them inside of this container. It's just center aligned text. So as we saw in that preview, when the window got shorter, everything kind of got squished together and not so great looking. So would I want to be a web developer and make websites for clients using this tool? Probably not. But for a client portal, I think it's just fine. It would be great if there were better templates to start from, but these are certainly, they could be worse. Let's say that. Besides, I'm not coming to this product looking for a page builder. Okay, so I'm going to title this the Client Amp About page, and now I'm going to attach it to my client's portal. So I'll go back over to the project here. I will find the Apple Video Production project, and then I'm going to make sure I have pages enabled. So I'll go back into settings, down to pages. I'll add my page from the library, and I'm going to do my About page right here. I'll hit save these changes. There's lots of clicks to do everything. I will say that it's not super cut and dry. However, you are seeing the page creation and then attaching it to the client. If you're just setting up the client, you can kind of just, the pages will already be done. You won't build new pages on a client by client basis. Now I'm gonna go back to modules here, and I'm just gonna ensure that I've got pages turned on. I don't, so I will turn them on for the team and the client, and I can give it a custom title if I want. Now, you might be thinking here, well, how do I choose which pages are attached? Well, remember, we set that up over here. So this is where we choose which pages show up. And then in the module, we just say, yeah, we want pages, which make sure you hit save because I didn't there. All right, let's go back to the preview of the portal one more time. We'll open up the link. And if we look over to the left-hand sidebar, we can see our page right here. I can click on that and see the page populate over on the main window. All right, so believe it or not, we've seen almost every part of SuperOkay. There's just a few more things I do want to cover, and they're mainly related to this library. So we've talked a little bit about pages and package services. Let's get into reusable blocks, team bios, and case studies. So here's an example of a reusable block. This is just a template. I added it by going to the template section here. This is an example of a budget and timeline questionnaire. So I can ask questions to my clients. I can have this show up inside of their client dashboard. Really cool idea. Like, what's your budget for the project? What services are you most interested in? This is kind of more before they get the project. So it'd be in some kind of an onboarding sequence or a pre-sales sequence. By the way, another facet of the interface I've not covered yet is that if you click the preview button down here, it takes away everything that the client won't see. So this is basically all of my editing options. Now they're hidden and I can view it without going into the preview dashboard. There's also a toggle down here for approved. Now in this case, it's basically going to be answered, right? So we'll see what it looks like if someone answers all of the questions that the kind of the alternate state is really what we're looking at. Now, in order to actually use our reusable blocks, that'll take place inside of the page editor here. So I'll be under pages, and then I go to a section where I want to implement the reusable block. I'll hit the plus button. I'll go to the content library, and here you can see I've got my case studies, my team bios, my reusable blocks. Here is the one we were just looking at. I can click on it once and is now embedded into my page builder. So that same principle is going to apply to the other options in the library. So remember, we had team bios and case studies. These are exactly what they sound like. I've got myself added as a user here. I can create a new one. If I'd like to, I'll create a blank user. You just fill in their information, and then you can easily add a little team bio to each page that you want on your website that you're going to show to your clients on your client dashboards. That's kind of the big hurdle to get over mentally, I guess, is that you're not building your own website. You're building pages to be displayed on your client's client portal. And those pages might be essentially duplicated several times, or they'll be linked to from each client's individual login screen. it's all a little bit confusing, but once you wrap your head around it, it actually makes perfect sense. And keep in mind, if you already have a website, you don't have to use these pages. You can just use your existing website pages and then link to them from the client portal, because you can link out to any page on the internet. Case studies are also very, very similar here. I've got a case study I was just kind of playing with here. It's basically a section or a page you might want to build out. You could write a blog post, a case study blog post, and then just easily link to that inside of another page. In fact, almost all of these elements, I think all of them can be just shared directly as a public link as well. So just make it a public link, and then you can, just link right out to it from any client's dashboard, or put it on your own website, do whatever you like. So that is SuperOkay. I'm actually very okay with this app. I really like it quite a bit. I appreciate that it's not trying to do too much, and I like having some separation between our primary project management tool and the one for the clients, because sometimes you don't want everything that's going on in the private or the internal project management to be visible to clients yet. It might not be ready. It might be stuff that's in planning. There might be discussion going on with your developer and your designer, and you don't want any of that accidentally slipping out to the customer before it's ready, because we talk about things internally about how we want to handle them, how we want to address the tech, and that doesn't all need to be seen by the client. So I really like the separation, and I feel like this is a pretty well executed product. This is definitely going to be in the 7s. I don't think it's quite into the 8s yet, because the design is not high enough, but it's good. If the design was amazing, it would put this thing over the top in terms of the templates, really is what I'm talking about, the design. Overall, using it is fine. A few little bugs here and there, like I can't figure out why I took the time to fill out my client information, because I never saw that palette anywhere throughout the application, the one we set up at the beginning. But let's go ahead and give this thing a score. I'm going to give it a 7.7. I think that's a really high, good score for this. It's a good, they should feel good about that score. I think this is a good app. SuperOkay, more than just SuperOkay. Definitely check this one out if you're looking for a client portal. That's going to do it for this video. I've got a link in the description for SuperOkay. You can also click over to AppSumo and buy anything through my link, and it will help support this content. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Check out clientamp.com, sign up for our free email newsletter, get over there and check out our premium courses, and even consider working with me to build your online business. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.